Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany Thomas, and today we're going to be talking about something that obviously has been in the news a lot the last couple of weeks. I've been waiting to talk about it because I wanted to gather more thoughts, more facts, more information before I release my own video about it, because I definitely feel like even with all of this crazy information that is out there right now, there is a certain components that we are missing that we don't talk about, which is the spiritual side. So I want to do a deep dive analysis and what we actually can learn from this case, which is why I believe it's one of the most important cases in the country right now, because there is so much for us to learn. So keep watching and I'm going to get into it. Obviously, anytime someone dies, I empathize. I know it's a lot of pain for the family and it's a sad time, and I just want to say that I feel for his family. I think everybody in our country and the world can agree anytime anyone dies, it's always sad. So much more we can learn from the details, so I'm going to get into what we can actually learn from this case. First thing that to learn from this is don't jump to conclusions. From the very first of this case, there has been so many jumps in conclusions, people assuming things. The media made a judgment saying he's a jogger, and you know, it made it seem like the only thing he was doing was jogging, which of course we now know that's not true. There was this whole thing of break-ins in the neighborhood. They did at least call the police once, so they were concerned with someone going into this homeowner's house who was building his house. However, for me, it was like, if you see someone trespassing on property, why do you automatically assume that he has a gun? I think that's or could have a gun. I feel like that part was a little bit off a jumping conclusion. I feel like he was setting himself a feeling like, I'm potentially in danger and I need to go do something about it. Bias, some people would say that was semi-racist. That could all have been avoided, truthfully, if he had just stayed in his car, followed him. He had the police on the phone, so it wasn't like he needed to get out and confront. Because of all of this caused a two-side split, which obviously you have to try to understand both sides. There were some people on the black side who basically were calling this modern day lynching. They were name calling the mcmichaels and saying that they were evil and they were devils and they felt like they were racist.
So them goddamn devils was bragging about it, basically, posting it on social media.
Definitely the video looks bad. I do see that there's a more layered reason. Ahmaud Arbery, he was at the house multiple times and they did see.
The Georgia family who owns the home under construction that's now part of the investigation into the shooting of an unarmed young black man a block away is now sharing video after video, some showing this unidentified person who began visiting the property in October and took nothing. These security camera videos showing a white couple, showing children from the neighborhood. All kinds of people who the homeowners tell us were looking around.
The homeowner told the mcmichaels something. I don't know if he told them to watch the house. We don't actually know the true facts of exactly what happened. So I feel like it wasn't just like they saw a black person and we need to gun him down. I do feel like there is more detail in that. We can't jump to conclusions and make comments like what LeBron James made, where he said we can't even jog. Now, I do feel like it's more detailed than that, and I don't like the rhetoric when it becomes very inflammatory and kind of just insulting. I feel like it could be toned down. And I understand why it goes there when you're in fear and you see something like that where you feel like you might be targeted because you're black. You do feeling powerless or unsafe. You feel like your life isn't worth what someone else's is. It can feel very threatening.
The video showed the world what we already knew, that black life still needs to be valued and protected.
We can't feel safe enough. We do have worth and we do have value, and we can't let the fear of being targeted, and we do have power. It was taken seriously. We did notice it. And then I feel like on the white side, some people on the white side particularly, I think I've seen a couple of white males who have been breaking down the point that, you know, Arbery just wasn't jogging, which, you know, fair enough, that is pretty much true. I mean, however, where they went and said, like, he went in the house, he stole something, he's a criminal, look at his past, and look at these little things that he got caught for, like stealing a TV or a thing where he brought a gun where he wasn't supposed to.
Now let's do a character assessment of both Ahmaud Arbery and Gregory McMichael. Ahmaud Arbery in 2012 was arrested for entering a Brunswick basketball game with a loaded gun.
I don't think these things make him a bad person. They make him a person who made mistakes. As anybody has made mistakes, I don't feel like we should be judging people based off their history, and regardless of his past and regardless of what he was doing today. If his death could have been avoided, it should have been avoided as far as my concern. Like, you could have just stopped at some point and said, is me getting that car out of a car, confronting him with a gun, trying to stop him worth killing him or me losing my life? I think you should honestly say that before you take that step. If your life is immediately threatened, I understand you having to use force, but in self-defense. But to me, because you are escalating the situation, I don't feel like it's self-defense. And I know they cited the stand your ground laws, the citizen arrest. I feel like, I hope that those laws in Georgia does not allow someone to kind of escalate a situation to stand your ground, because I feel like, again, that is basically what happened in this situation. And as far as him burglarizing the house, the homeowner has came out and said that nothing was taken. That can't fly. So at most of what he did was trespassing the house, which is not a felony, which cannot be considered for a citizen's arrest. At best, it's a misdemeanor. So I think there are some things with this law that you do learn, but just assuming he's a bad person, assuming he's a criminal because he went into this house, I think is the first false thing. And I feel like they were having that reaction because they were feeling defensive and blamed. And I get that it sucks to feel blamed and feel like people are trying to say white people or white guys are black people. But I think a lot of times you have to realize that's coming from someone's own pain and feeling unimportant or feeling unrecognized or not as worth it in other people's eyes as other people. So there's no need to be that defensive in my whole thing is, obviously, be more open-minded and less reactive. Let's just listen to each other's side, understand how they feel. There's no reason to get into the name-calling part. No need to deflame people on both sides. It's like, there is no reason. Next, I would say, to be more open, what needs to happen is people have to own their feelings. They have to own that they feel powerless, they're scared, they feel unsafe on the black side, so you can have an actual dialogue with the other side. I feel like I felt these certain things in my life, but what I noticed is as I have grew into feeling more safe, I feel safe enough, I feel worthy enough, I feel good enough. I don't feel like I would be treated differently. And I feel like what's crazy is when you don't feel like there is a difference, I think you see it less. But when you feel like there is a difference in how you're going to be treated, I do feel like you see it more. So I think a lot of it starts here. But I'm not saying everything, because you will see things in real life that reflect, opposite of what you believe. But I'm saying if you actively work on that, you'll see it less and less. My fifth thought is, I really feel like people should stop caring so much about things. This whole thing of protect my property, or I gotta protect this property and I'm gonna kill you if you try to take it, I feel like it's so over the top. And then in this case, to me, what's upsetting is like, this isn't even your house, this isn't even your property. It's like, and you're gonna go after somebody with a gun. They felt like, well, this is my neighborhood and he just shouldn't be here, it almost seemed like. And it's just like, you should not be that territorial. It's not worth killing somebody. Things are not more important than people. And so for me, I think that's an easy kind of lesson. Even our laws about stealing is over the top. We should not value things more than people. And I would like to see that to be changed in our country. 6 is that I think it's important to have purpose in life. I feel like Ahmaud, his behavior of just kind of going there at night, hanging out, looking around. I mean, he might have just liked construction. I don't really know why he was doing it. But I do feel like it could have come out of boredom. He didn't seem like he had a lot to do or a lot of purpose in his life. And I feel like purpose is so important, so you can do something that you love. Because when you're not doing something that you love, you kind of wallow in boredom. You kind of have more self-hate because you don't have anything to be proud of. And when that happens, then you're just kind of out here dangling. And I feel like people can kind of see that, and then if you can connect to your passion, if you connect to your love, a lot of these things in our Black community where we have boys or men who are not really motivated or not really having a purposeful life, a lot of that can be. 7, I really feel like you should always research the story that anyone tells you. Ahmaud Arbery's mom was told a story about why her son was dead here in this clip.
Killed. What did they tell you had happened, and did you believe this story when you were told it?
Okay, initially, the night of the incident, I was contacted by one of the investigators who was actually working the scene, and he said that Ahmaud was involved in a burglary. And in the midst of the burglary, Ahmaud was confronted by the homeowner, and at that time there was a fight over the firearm, and Ahmaud was shot and killed.
Did you believe that story?
Well, actually, I did, because I wasn't there. I did not know what had happened, and I did not think that I would be receiving anything that
and what we found out is basically that wasn't true. So I think you have to always do your own research, have an understanding of what's happening for you, so you can never totally believe a story. And number 8 is, don't assume people should be guilty by law standards. I have seen people say, I just feel like the mcmichael should be locked up and they should just go to jail.
I won't necessarily be always satisfied until I hear a verdict, a guilty verdict, you know?
I'm not sure if they're going to be locked up. I think Georgia has their own laws, and a lot of people have looked into it, and people have argued for why they will not go to jail, and some people have argued why they should. Every state has their law, and maybe his defense can define a loophole, and if they can, great. If that is what the law wants to do. I know I have a balanced approach to this. I don't really care if they go to jail. Me, I feel like these are man laws, and mainly I live by God laws. I think God laws for me trump all. I don't have a hat in this thing of what actually happens. I don't require justice because I know that God always gives out his own justice. I feel like, and to me, that is called karma. God is always giving karma, and so I don't really worry about if someone should go to jail or if they're gonna get caught. And this whole thing that we do on, on the media, I'm not really per se worried about that, because they will feel the effects whether they go to prison or not. Because once you hurt somebody, you're gonna have to contend with that karma of that, and so you're going to be in a lot of pain. It won't be easy. Their life will never be the same again. And even William Bryant has said, like, he hasn't been home, he's scared for his own life. I mean, it's just interesting how once something bad like this happens, how it affects everybody. So I think, again, this is why for them, I feel like before you do something like this, you really have to think, is this worth the karma that is gonna come back on me for this? Because I'm sorry, when you hurt someone, God will figure it out. You are going to have some pain and suffering because of that. And I think I've hurt people and I've had the karma come back off. And of course you're in a lot of pain, so you're gonna blame and hate them for it. And then you feel guilty once you realize your part, but you have to go through that part. And I feel like we have people who have done this, like George Zingerman's. I know a lot of people were mad that he got off, but I also feel like he got the karma you're gonna get when you don't follow God's laws. And you can see that because he even said Zingerman's was both homeless and jobless following that trial. Zingerman's was a very traumatized person. I'm sorry about that. Because he had his liberty taken away from him. So I mean, again, he's still in the blame, hey, mad about it situation. He's not seeing his part yet, and I think that's one of the reasons why he's trying to sue the family. But it's kind of like you reap what you sow. There's no way to avoid that. You can't get away with hurting people, even if you can't skirt the law. So that's all to say. I just want to say I do think this could be a healing thing, and because I do believe God has a plan. And when I say that, I mean there is always meaning in death. I feel like there was a meaning in the deaths that I had in my life. I know, especially the unexpected deaths, the deaths that surprise you. There's always something that you can take extra from it. I know I learned so much from my sister's death, so much from it, even though initially, of course, it's very painful. So I feel like even in the situation, I know his family is going to learn a lot from the situation. I feel like us as a country, we're learning a lot from the situation. There's blessings, and even in the worst circumstances. I hope this video was helpful for you and you were able to look at this or think about something differently, because that is what I'm here to do. I thank you all for my new subscribers, and if you want more thoughtful, challenging, helpful content, click below and subscribe. You all have a blessed and wonderful day. Bye.